Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pitch Perfect, Haters TV's women's football show. I am Ayisha Gulati and I'm joined in the studio by Samantha Miller and Reshma Rao. It has been a very exciting week of Champions League football, of Women's Super League football, and we're going to dissect all of that. But hot off the press is the news that Millie Bright has just retired from international football. Guys, it's big news. We're going into an international break. She's done it just ahead of Serena announcing her squad tomorrow. Sam, what do we make of it?
Huge news. I think after she decided not to take part in the Euros, it was on everyone's mind. Is she going to come back from this? Is she going to retire? We now know the answer, and I have to say she's left quite a legacy, and she has left with winning a Euros competition. And she was an Arnold Clark Cup legend. We have to remember that, scoring in that. Sharing a golden boot with Alexia Putellas and that. So, yeah, some good memories in a Lioness's shirt. She's been a real leader and lots of memories to remember.
Definitely. She subbed in as captain for that World Cup. I mean, wow, that was big boots to fill. And she definitely did that, taking England to that final in Australia. Reshma, how about you?
Yeah, I think she has so much to be proud of. What she's achieved in the England shirt is probably more than she could have dreamed of. The news is a little bit surprising given the fact that maybe some of us thought she could play another couple of years, but fair play to her. She should be so proud.
Yeah, definitely. She should indeed be proud. And we wish her all the best. I'm sure she's made the decision for the right reasons, and we will keep seeing her in a Chelsea shirt, which leads us on quite nicely, I think, to the first match we're going to discuss from the weekend, which was Chelsea Spurs. And Millie Bright, absolute legend, as we mentioned, she made her 300th appearance for Chelsea yesterday. So that feels quite fitting almost that she's that today was the day that she decided no more England, but continuing in a Chelsea shirt. Well, I was at Kings Meadow. It was an interesting game. I'm sure you guys caught it. It was Chelsea really, it took a lot for them to break down Spurs. Spurs held up a solid defence, but it was a worldie from Keira Walsh that broke the deadlock, and we will hear from her. This is what Keira Walsh had to say about the result.
Congratulations, Keira. It took an absolute worldie strike from you to get over the line there. Talk me through it.
We were just talking about having long range shots at half time, and Sonia mentioned to me about having a shot, and I just saw the space, and I think it was just one of those, as soon as it leaves your foot, you kind of know that it's a good strike. But I wasn't expecting to score today, to be honest.
I mean, it's another long range strike from you. I feel like you need to just be doing that more often. Keep letting loose like that.
Yeah, I think obviously today it was a little bit easier because they were sat a little bit deeper. So I think we kept the ball really well, especially in the first half around their box. So it does make it a little bit easier to take those shots. But but I agree. I think that's something that we could have done a little bit more today, and myself included. Yeah.
And a huge milestone for your colleague Millie, teammate for both club and country. Tell me a little bit about what that's been like, watching her development and playing alongside her.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just says a lot about her commitment to this club, and what she's done for the women's game, I think is incredible. And I think having her behind and as our captain, it makes my life a lot easier in her communication and professionalism. And I've not got too many words to say because she's just an incredible person and player.
Such lovely words there. An incredible person and player. Sums it up really nicely by her teammate there, Keira Walsh. What a goal, guys. What did you make of that one?
Fantastic goal. Do you know what? Keira Walsh doesn't score often, but when she does, she comes up with a screamer. It was crazy to think she only just scored recently her first England goal. So, she'll be delighted. But it was the way that she took the goal. There wasn't much space. Spurs were really resilient in their defending. She had so many players in front of her. She was able to just transfer onto her right foot, and she created that bit of space for herself and then slotted it into the corner. But it was actually a really difficult finish. And I think Keira Walsh does that really well. She comes forward from the midfield and creates that space for herself.
Yeah, I was thinking that England goal as well, that she scored at the Euros this summer. But like you said, it was a really difficult goal to score. And actually, watching back the highlights, when she had the ball, it didn't seem like she was going to take the shot, but I'm really glad she did. And I'm sure she is as well, because it was a really great goal.
It was really interesting because she had said that Sonia Bonpastor had been asking them to take more those long range shots. And yeah, I mean, she took the advice and it clearly worked. So guess what, guys? Sonia knows what she's talking about. But yeah, I think that's really interesting to see, and it's about that confidence. And we know she's got it in her, right? She scores those long range shots. She strikes it so well. She kind of said later on in that interview, the full interview is available on the Haters TV's YouTube channel, but she says, yeah, I thought it was going to go in when it left my foot. You could kind of just like visualize it going. I knew I'd hit it well. So yeah, great to see that from her. But a word for Spurs, because Spurs, we saw them lose 5-1 to City earlier in the season. They had really good start to the season. Other than that, they held Chelsea for a lot of the game yesterday. And maybe they didn't look like scoring, but they defended so well. And is that a testament to how far they've come, Sam?
Definitely. I think Spurs have had to become really resilient, especially after the result against Manchester City. I think they had to take a look at themselves. They said already that they lost a bit of confidence in the previous seasons. I think they had really high expectations, didn't quite perform to how they felt they could. And this season, we're seeing a new side to them. I've watched them a few times already this season. Manchester City result wasn't their best performance, but since then, they played really well against Aston Villa in the Cup, and they did hold Chelsea for quite a long period of the game. And I think what teams tend to do against Chelsea is they do sit back in that low block and just make themselves really hard to break down. They did it for quite a long time, but then Chelsea do what they do best. They always find a way.
It is those gritty wins, isn't it? Is it grinding out those wins when you almost don't think you're going to that makes them champions?
Yeah, I think so. And at the end of the day, you need to score goals in order to win matches. And even if it's just one goal that puts you ahead, you get those 3 points. And I think Chelsea did exactly what they wanted to do in that match. They got their points. They're still top of the league.
And someone I want to talk about, actually, they got player of the match, Alyssa Thompson. She was really, really impressive yesterday. Of course, a club record signing for Chelsea. Do you think she's really coming into her own? She's finding her feet here at Chelsea now, Sam?
Yeah, I thought it might take a bit of time coming from the NWSL, very different type of league in the way that you can sometimes get a bit more time and space on the ball. I feel like teams that play against Chelsea are trying to shut them down really quickly. Like I mentioned earlier, have the low block, so they're hard to break down. But Alyssa Thompson brings so much confidence and flair. She will just take 2 or 3 players on and try and glide past them. And she's a very exciting player to watch. Great signing by Chelsea, young. And I'm excited to see more from her, but I think she's had a positive impact so far at Chelsea.
She's just so quick. She's coming down the wing and she has so much pace. And I think I saw today that when she was in high school, she ran 100 meters at 11.7 seconds. And that was only a couple of years ago because she's so young. But she just has so much pace. And it's really hard to defend because you can't keep up with her. And then on top of that, she has all the skills and the footwork and is able to score. So I think she's a really great addition to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, and then pace on the other side too. And you look at Ellie Carpenter, and that's a really lethal combination, I would say. But we saw Lucy Bronze come back yesterday. So how do you think Sonia Bonpastor might manage that, decision between Ellie Carpenter, Lucy Bronze, 2 incredible players?
I think it's a good problem to have, having 2 incredible players in that position. Obviously, Lucy Bronze came on just at the end, so we don't know how able she is to last a full 90 minutes or even start the match. So they'll have to see. But Ellie Carpenter is a really great substitution for her.
Yeah, Lucy Bronze loves competition, so I think she'll actually thrive on the prospect of competing against a top-class player in Ellie Carpenter. And they're both quite similar in their styles, super quick, very strong, both like to overlap and get forward as much as possible. And I think Sonia Bonpastor has said before that she'd love to fit them both in the system, play them both at the same time. So could we see that, or will there be rotation with so many cup games, Champions League? It's be interesting to see.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's so much football that Chelsea are involved with at the moment that actually you want to be having that squad depth, and that is what is going to set them aside from maybe some of the smaller squads, potentially teams like Man United, etc., which we will come on to talk about. We mentioned it, 300 appearances for Millie Bright. She actually gave a really lovely interview to the crowd yesterday. Her whole family were there giving her flowers and stuff. And that was a really nice moment as well. So for that sort of romantic moment, I'm kind of glad that Chelsea were able to get a win for her, because yeah, she really bleeds blue, doesn't she? So yeah, congratulations to Millie for her international career, but also 300 appearances for Chelsea. Well, we're going to move on to the match that you were at, Sam, this weekend. Arsenal, who at the beginning of the season people were saying would be Chelsea's biggest competition. It's not been plain sailing for them. However, they got a win under their belt yesterday, a 1-0 against Brighton. They had been winless for 4 games until that point, so they really needed that. What did you make of that game at the Emirates?
It was an interesting game because Brighton really posed a threat. I think we can't underestimate Brighton. They do seem to play extremely well against teams near the top of the table. We've seen that over different seasons. They've always challenged the likes of Chelsea. And I think they really brought the game to Arsenal. Arsenal kept trying to find ways. They had a few saves, and I thought Van Domselaar was excellent. And it did take a bit of luck to get that goal. It was deflection, but Arsenal, they wanted to find a way to just get 3 points, and that was all they cared about, and that's exactly what they've done, and I think that will give them a bit of confidence going forward now.
Yeah, what about you, Reshma, in terms of Arsenal challenging for the title? What do you make of their
Well, I think they were in a difficult position, having not won in a month, but they proved that, like you said with Chelsea, their squad depth is there. They have the players, they have the skill, and I think they will definitely be title contenders. They're still up there. They may be 5th at the moment, but they're still definitely
It's early days, isn't it? We're only in game week 6. I think we can all take a breather, and actually we think back to last season, and it was like the whole Jonas Val situation, and they turned things around. They went on to win the Champions League. So it's a long old season. Player of the match, this probably says a little bit about the game, but it was goalkeeper Daphne Van Domselaar. And Sam, you were able to catch up with her in the mix zone following the match, and here is what she had to say.
Congrats today, a win, clean sheet, and player of the match. How does it feel?
Feels good, yeah, it feels good. I'm happy with 3 points. I think we were so hot for it, so that we've got it in the end, so good.
I'm watching Katie Reid today. She was coming into the midfield. She even did some sort of skill. She just shows so much confidence and composure. What's it like to have a defence like that in front of you?
Yeah, what you said, he plays with so much composure and he's so calm on the ball, and I think he's doing it so well the last few weeks, and starting for Arsenal is such a big thing for that age. So I'm really proud of her, and it's good to see her and work hard together.
And lastly, Renee showed so much belief and confidence in you. How nice is that?
Yeah, I always knew that they had confidence in me, but it's always nice to hear that, and I really appreciate that, and I'm happy that I could show them that they should have the confidence in me. So I'm happy about the results and about the performance.
Thank you, Vel.
Love that. Was that you speaking a bit of Dutch to her there?
Yeah, it was me saying thank you in Dutch. I've been to the Netherlands a few times, so you pick up a bit along the way.
Yeah. Love that. You got to flex your Dutch where you can in those mix zones. Well, Daphne Van Domselaar kept Arsenal in the game yesterday, secured that 3 points that they really, really needed. But what did you make of Brighton's threat? They've been interesting this season. I think last season they started so well that it almost raised unfair expectations for starting this season. What have you made of them so far, Sam?
Yeah, I think in previous seasons when I've been to games like Chelsea-Brighton, Brighton have got a lot of results in the past against teams like Chelsea. They seem to step up their game. A lot of those players that scored goals in those games have now gone, the likes of Koivisto. And Brighton, they are always that team to watch. Maybe dipped off a bit, but I think what's exciting now is they're bringing in real young talent. So that's interesting to see. And also, but experience with that. Frank Kirby still looping balls over the top yesterday. She's still magic on the ball. And I think I'm just intrigued to see how Brighton do get on, because they're such an ambitious club. And I really liked the way they played yesterday. And I think they pose so much threat to Arsenal. I think it's just about having that consistency. And obviously there were players like Kafaji and Michelle Adjiman who couldn't play because they're on loan. But what a difference those types of players could have made as well. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Brighton this season.
Yeah, it's such a shame those two players couldn't play, because it would have been so entertaining to see them match up against Arsenal. But no, exactly. I think they're steady, a couple of wins, couple of losses, not kind of exactly where they want to be at this point in the season. And we'll just have to keep watching to see what else they can do.
We will indeed keep our eyes peeled on Brighton to see how they get on. Well, we'll move on to the next match of the weekend that we want to talk about. And Reshma, you were at this one. We've been all over this weekend. I'm sure it's what you love to hear. But such great games that we couldn't decide which ones to go to. So we all split and enjoyed very different games. But you caught up with London City Lionesses and West Ham. London City won 1-0. What are you making of them this season? They had a bit of a torrid start, but I guess to be expected. And they're sitting in 6th now, so not too bad.
Yeah, back-to-back 1-0 wins for London City at home, which is really great. Like you said, not the best start, but also they did have 17 new signings coming in the summer. So that's a little bit to be expected. And similarly to Brighton, they now have a team full of experience and older players with like Nikita Paris, but also these really good young players like Freya Godfrey and Isabel Goodwin and Jana Fernandez. And these players have come from all over the world and from different leagues. But I think that they're really playing well together now. Those relationships are building. It's clear that they enjoy having each other as teammates. And it was a really entertaining match to watch. The one goal came from Kosvara Aslani, who took advantage of a mistake from the West Ham goalkeeper. So they will be frustrated that was where they conceded because they had their own chances. And London City were just unable to get the ball in the back of the net in some of their finishes, but they'll be very pleased with that result. And I think they play Chelsea next away at Stamford Bridge, which is a tough match.
Yeah.
But it's what they play for, and I think that they could actually really pose a test to Chelsea.
It's going to be interesting, I think, because they had such a tough start to the season. They played so many of the big teams, like at the beginning, right? And they just weren't there. They weren't ready. They hadn't got a first win under their belt. And actually now that they've got a bit of confidence into the team. I think you're right. And I think that Chelsea game is going to be really interesting because it's going to be a proper yardstick of like how far have they come. They've got a bit of time now, although they're, bit of an international break and whatnot. But they've got a bit of time to regroup, hopefully, and see how they get on at Chelsea. It's going to be a really interesting one. Sam, I want to ask you a bit about West Ham because they've not won a game. They've not drawn a game. They're on 0 points after 6. Should they start worrying? It's 6 games in and you've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I think that is worrying. Over the seasons, West Ham have lost a lot of players, gained some. I think there's not been too much consistency. But last season, we saw a bit of a different side to them. They gained a bit of momentum, a bit more consistency than they've had over the previous seasons. And I think actually Rhian Skinner did such a tremendous job when she did come in. She got the players playing better than they had been. And I think they'll just be disappointed that they're not picking up results. Things aren't quite working out for them. But they do have a couple of players who I think can really turn it on and show. We've seen glimpses of what they can do. And when those players start to gain a bit more momentum, I think they might start picking up points. But it is very difficult for them. They've got the likes of Shakira that we've spoken about in previous shows. So, yeah, I think West Ham will be a little worried, but it is so early on in the season. They obviously got players like Fionn Morgan who started well. So, yeah, as they start to gel a bit more, hopefully they can pick up some results.
They're gonna need to start picking up some points. Reshma, you caught up with the managers post-match. Was there anything stand out that stood out from their press conferences?
Skinner spoke about how actually every game they've had improvements and it's gotten better as it's gone on. So that's exactly what she wanted. At some point, they will get the wins and they will start getting those points, but they're improving and that's exactly what she wanted. London City manager Jocelyn Pritchard spoke about how he was really happy with the way that his team is able to play against these experienced teams because let's not forget London City are new to the WSL and West Ham have been there for a long time now. So he's very satisfied with that and hopes it can continue.
Yeah, and I remember something that really sticks out was when Michelle Kang said that she expects London City to go in to the WSL and be like a mid-table team. And I think people were maybe kind of scoffing at that a little bit at the beginning of the season. But actually, after 6 games, they're 6th. Like, she's not wrong, right? So, and if you're beating teams like West Ham, that's where you need to be. It's probably unrealistic to expect you're going to be beating those title contender teams, but you've got to be picking up the points against West Ham if you want to be that mid-table team and then secure the fact that you're going to stay up for next season. So yeah, a very exciting story at London City Lionesses, and exciting stuff to continue to follow there in terms of the storylines. Well, we'll move on to the next game of the WSL that we enjoyed. And we also had a reporter, Nazira Youssef, who was at Liverpool versus Manchester City. And we'll show you the clip first. Why not? She was at Anfield and she caught up with player of the match, Laura Blindkilde Brown, post-match.
Yeah, I think it was a really hard-fought win, but we managed to do it in the end, and we never gave up, so it was a great win.
Yeah, what was the mood when you went a goal down kind of against another player, and then how did you rally together to turn it around?
Yeah, I think it's not the first match where we've gone behind, and we just never gave up as a team, and we knew we were creating chances all game long, and then in the second half I think we were just more clinical with our finishes.
Yeah, how are you feeling in yourself as well? You've been getting a good chance in the team and really taking it.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to take every game as it comes and improve with every game.
Building on from the win against Arsenal last weekend, and also Man United and also Arsenal winning this weekend, how important is it that you have gone on to get 3 points here at Anfield today with the title?
Yeah, I think, to win the title you don't really want to drop many points at all, so to win today was really important and it keeps us in the fight, but obviously it's only the first 6 matches, so we're not looking too much into the future yet.
Yes, Manchester City coming away with the win against Liverpool 2-1, thanks to another late goal. And player of the match, Laura Blindkilde Brown, speaking there. Sam, you rate her as a player?
I do. I went to Spain a few years ago to cover the Lionesses, and what they did was they combined the senior team with the under-23s, and I went out and watched the under-23s game against Spain and the Netherlands, so 2 really tough opponents. And Laura Blindkilde Brown actually really stood out for me. She controls the midfield. I think she's got so much potential. And when she made that move to City, you're thinking, is she going to get much game time? And now she's getting that game time. She's really shown what she's capable of at such a young age. So I think there's a lot more to see from her. And she's always checking her shoulder, seeing what's around her. And she links up the play really well and sort of plays a bit mature past her years. So yeah, I think a player to look out for.
Yeah, and it's nice to see the new manager, Andre Jegler. It's like really giving these young players a go. Iman Bini as well. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her surname correct there, but she has shown twice now, but back-to-back goals in really important games. She's made of really hard stuff. What are you making of Man City's mentality and bounce back ability?
Yeah, scoring those late winners is exactly what they needed to do, and they've been able to do that. And it really seems like they're fighting for their chances, and to play against the top teams like that. And that match last week was a real thriller. And at one point, you didn't know who was going to win, and getting that late winner was so important for them. That the mentality is there, and I'm sure that this is only just giving them confidence to keep going.
I was actually going to say that Kirsten Kasperai for me has been a standout player this season. She's on fire, and she mentioned that Manchester City are playing with so much freedom this season because they're playing a different style. They can play a bit more expansive football, a bit more attacking, and not so much identified as how the men play, and they're changing it up a bit. And what's really interesting is the fact that they can start Bunny Shaw with Miedemar. They can bounce off each other. Then you've got Kasperai running down the wing. So I think it's just working really well for City, and we're seeing them build something. They don't have Champions League football, which they'll be disappointed about, so they can really show what they're capable of in the league, try and get back to Champions League football. And yeah, they are finding ways to get the wins now, which is a sign of a good team.
Yeah, Kirsten Kasperai has been so good this season. Like so many player of the match trophies. Last week when I caught up with her at the Joy Stadium after she'd won another one, we were joking around about how her biceps are really building because they're really heavy and she keeps carrying them. But yeah, she was saying how excited she is to be able to be given the freedom to just push up, be a more forward attacking player, which we've not really seen that part of her game in that capacity in the same way, like until this season, which is so nice to like see her creating those opportunities in that way. But do you think that City, from what we've seen from 6 game weeks, are they Chelsea's biggest contender at this point?
think Casper was saying thank you, Vel, to the manager. Thank you for giving me that freedom to bomb forward, get crosses in.
You need to learn another phrase, I think,
need to learn
Sam.
a bit more
We'll get a
Dutch.
Dutch dictionary out for next time.
But you can see that Manchester City are just really enjoying their football at the moment. And I think it was such a big win against Spurs that I think it just gave them that burst of confidence. And they are showing how well they can play. And I think they just look like they found this new freedom this season. And it's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think at the moment they are Chelsea's biggest contenders for the title, if we're looking at how it stands right now. But Man United are definitely up there as well. And yeah, I think if, like you said, that attacking line, if they can keep going, because if I were a defender playing up against them, it would be pretty terrifying because they're just so good. But yeah, at the moment, I think they are the ones to watch.
And I think we should talk about Liverpool a little bit because they haven't been able to get any points yet either. It feels like they've been a bit unlucky, but I don't know. What do we make of Liverpool's performance so far this season?
I think they'll be really disappointed with the start to the season. It is tough. Sometimes new manager comes in, different philosophies, different style of play. We know that Gareth Taylor was at Manchester City for such a long time. Not only did he coach the women's team, but he also coached the boys' youth team before that. So he's really always implemented the Manchester City style and way of play. And then he's come to Liverpool and it's different types of players. Obviously, they lost the likes of Olivia Smith, who was such a huge player for them. Had a few injuries and different things happen, but they really need to get some points. And I think for them, they'll hope that those are coming because it was close with Manchester City. I think Gemma Bonner's goal was ruled offside. So I think they'll feel like it's coming, but sometimes when you keep losing, it's hard to pick yourself up and go again when you have to try and look for those positives.
Yeah, Gareth Taylor spoke yesterday about how they're so close to getting those points. And like you said, it is a really big adjusting to a new manager. And I think he said something like they just need one more match to keep going. But I also wanted to say that it was really nice to see Liverpool playing at Anfield with that crowd. It just looked like such a great atmosphere and what a game to play at.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Nice to see the big crowds. There were quite a few big crowds this weekend. Everton and Man United got a really good crowd at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So really good to see those main stadiums, big stadiums being used, especially, with the men not playing. Why not? Let's use them more. Well, we'll move on to the Everton-Man United game. This one was played at the Hill Dickinson, Everton men's new stadium, I should say, with Everton women now playing at Goodison for all their games. United came back to beat Everton 4-1. Now, I think it was quite impressive from what I was following from it. It was because I was at Chelsea at the same time, but like desperately trying to keep an eye on this one because said Everton had gone ahead. And from what I'd been reading and hearing, it was that United were peppering the Everton goal, but just not being clinical enough. And they did come back to win 4-1. Now, what are we making of United? Because I know they did come back on this occasion 4-1, but Mark Skinner has said in quite a few games this season that they've not been clinical. They've not taken advantage of those moments, but they are getting over the line. What are we making of United this season, Sam?
Well, I'm so impressed with United personally. Yeah. I think to be playing Champions League football now, the results they got last season to enable them to do that. And I just think they look like they're on fire. The likes of Jess Park, what a signing, by the way. I think she is in so much form. She's full of confidence, taking shots from distance, linking up well with players already. Rolfo's already hit the ground running. I've always rated Rolfo since her Barcelona days with the Barcelona shirt above me. And Mallard, I mean, she just looks like she's loving life at United, scoring goals. They've got all different goal scorers at the moment. Turland, there's so many players we can mention. Tissy has been so consistent. And I'm excited to see how they will end up finishing this season, how they're doing Champions League. But I love the way they're playing. I think it's great football. So I'm intrigued that Mark Skinner, I think he just demands so much.
Yeah.
And the fans at United also demand a lot. But I think they're getting good results.
I think so. And also, despite them not being clinical in that first half, they obviously were able to turn it around and get 4 goals, right? They didn't scrape past. They ended up with 4-1 thanks to Jess Park's double. But Melvin Mallard leading the WSL Golden Boot race, already scored more goals than she scored last season. Like, she is on fire. It feels like they've just got this new lease of life, this new injected confidence. What are you making of them, Reshma? Like, challenges for Chelsea?
I think that confidence has probably come from qualifying for the Champions League and knowing that they're good enough to play in Europe. And they won their first Champions League match. So that's definitely instilled a lot of confidence for them as a team. And even though they have a couple of new signings, I think the fact that they've been able to play so many more matches and train more has been really great for them. Again, contenders for the title, and for Chelsea as well. I think they are continuing to make their way up their table.
Yeah, and let's not forget they're the only team so far who have held Chelsea in the league. So just by the nature of that, that implies that's going to be a battle there for sure. And really, really exciting that they won their first Champions League game. They were the only English side to do that. We'll have a Champions League diversion. What do we make of the first week of the Champions League fixtures? Arsenal, the holders, lost to Lyon at home 2-1. Chelsea were held by Twente in Twente. You can use your Dutch there as well. And Man United registered a home win. I mean, what an occasion for them to do that. But what do we make of the English teams in action in week 1 of the Champions League?
I think it doesn't surprise me that Lyon won, because I think Lyon are a real force this season and can be underrated. So it doesn't surprise me that they came to England and got a result. I mean, you just have to look at their squad depth. We talk about Chelsea. I think Lyon are sort of the equivalent to that in France. I think they have world-class players and they've brought in some great additions as well. I think Arsenal, we saw from last season, they might not have the best start, but they managed to go on and win it. Yeah. So, we can never write Arsenal off. Chelsea, I think it was quite a surprise for them to draw to Twente, but sometimes we underestimate these teams that we don't see so much of. And I think it was actually Jill Roord that got player of the match for Twente. Obviously, she left City, and I think she felt like maybe she had a point to prove. Back in the Netherlands for her. So I think Twente can be a difficult team to play. Chelsea had a lot of rotation because they've got so many players to keep happy, and it just wasn't really their day. I mean, Chelsea, I don't think they've played particularly at their best yet this season, but like we mentioned earlier, they still managed to grind out results. And I think they were disappointed with a draw because of the new Champions League format. It's very different, so you can't really afford to drop any points. But I think Chelsea will pick it back up, although they've got more tough opposition to play in the Champions League. And I think United, they'll just be so happy to get that win in the first week.
Definitely getting that first win under their belt is huge.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with Chelsea, they still have so many players on the bench who are injured that sometimes you can forget about, because they have so many great players who are on the field. But they still, I mean, Lucy Bronze has just come back. But they still have Lauren James. They still have Naomi Girma. They have all these players that could really improve their team even more when they come back. And I think that although it was not the start that they wanted in the Champions League, I'm sure they will have many, many more wins.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's not panic stations yet, is it, after one game week, despite the new format. But we've got another week of Champions League this week, which is very exciting. But I want to wrap up the WSL action. The only match we've not spoken about is Leicester City versus Aston Villa. A bit of a 0-0 here. Not the most exciting game, but was this a missed opportunity potentially for one of these sides to push a bit further up in the table?
I think Aston Villa would have hoped that they brought a bit of momentum from drawing against Arsenal. That was such a big result for them. And I think they've impressed me this season, actually, the likes of Lynn Wilms. I think she's been superb. Some of the goals she scored, a free kick comes to mind. I think they would have wanted to get a win in that game, but Leicester, they defend really well, and we saw that actually when they played against Chelsea this season. They made it really difficult for Chelsea. So I think I guess people looked at Leicester with the manager situation, wasn't quite sure how they'd perform, but I think a draw for those two teams playing each other, I think they're both ambitious. They both want to make sure I reckon they're both aiming for mid-table maybe this season. And they would have both been desperate to get some sort of result against each other. So draw, not too bad. As much as they would have liked to win, I think they might take a draw.
I think Aston Villa will be more upset about missing that opportunity, mainly because Leicester now have a new coach and a new manager, and that seems like kind of the perfect moment to capitalize on. But I think both teams will be disappointed not getting those 3 points, but a draw seems pretty fair.
Yeah, they are sat in 8th and 9th in the table after 6 games. So, yeah, that feels about right for now. But it will be interesting to see how they push on, especially Villa. Like you say, I'm really interested to see how they grow into the season. Well, I want to return to Champions League because we've got 3 more weeks. Well, we've got more than 3 more games this week, but 3 English teams have another game this week. We've got Chelsea face Paris FC at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday. I will be at that game. Then Manchester United are going away to face Atletico Madrid, and Arsenal are going away to face Benfica. What do we make of these matchups, Sam?
Okay, I'm going to start with Paris FC. I think they've always been a surprise package in the Champions League. They've made it difficult for Arsenal before. Arsenal will remember that. I think that's always a difficult game. But I think Chelsea will be so hungry after the first Champions League result that they'll give everything at Stamford Bridge. That will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Benfica, Lucia Alves scored for Benfica in the opening game, and I think there was a real confidence around that, and they let Juventus get the 3 points in the end. But I think Benfica showed really positive sides, and I saw that when I covered them in Lisbon when they played against Barcelona in the Champions League before. They even really put on a show there, but that's when they had players like Jessica Silva who are no longer there. So I think Benfica, Arsenal will want to bounce back after the Lyon loss. So yeah, I think those 2 will be interesting games actually. And then United, they'll be so pleased with week 1, but Atletico, they were all over St. Polten in game week 1, and I think they'll want to build on that result because they scored 6 goals or something, and they were on fire, and what they were doing really well was getting in behind. So they'll have to make sure that there's no space in behind.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult to play away, but I think United should be able to come away with a win just because they will be able to build on the momentum that they've had over the last few weeks. And like we were saying before, there's so much confidence in that team now. I think they should be able to come through with a win.
Yeah, I actually put Atletico Madrid as my 10th favourites to win. When I did a 1 to 10. I put Atletico as 10. I think Atletico are like a decent team, but I put Man United as 5th. Bit rogue, maybe, but I feel like all the English teams have a really great chance of doing well in the Champions League. Arsenal have set that blueprint last season, showing that it's possible. Barcelona, of course, I mean, they're Barcelona, but I think all these 3 teams, especially in this game week, I'm feeling confident for the 3 teams. It will be harder for the 2 teams, Arsenal and Man United, travelling away. An away fixture is just always more difficult. It's going to be a bit of unknown quantities as well in terms of the matchups. United haven't been in this sort of position before. But
who
really
is your
5th
team that you put in your top 5?
Oh, I put Man United as 5th.
And then who were the others? The 3 English teams.
Okay, so I put Man United at 5th, Arsenal at 4th, Lyon at 3rd, Barcelona at 2nd, and Chelsea 1st.
Okay.
Wow.
But after watching game week 1, I want to switch Chelsea and Barcelona. No, I don't know. I mean, like, Barcelona was so impressive last week. I think maybe I fell into the trap of being like, oh, they've lost loads of their squad. But it's like, so what when you've got Bonmati, Putellas, etc., etc.
I've been backing Barcelona to get back up there. I think just look at the goals they scored in game week 1. Phenomenal. I mean, Alexis Putellas, no words needed. I mean, she's in form at the moment. I think she is just world class. And also, I've always said to keep an eye out on Esme Brutz, who scored in that game as well. I think another Dutch talent, very good at taking players on, and she's being able to advance a bit more forward now and get shots at goal. We often see her put in amazing crosses, but now she's getting in those goal scoring positions as well. She actually scored in the league this weekend as well, so she's going to be full of confidence. Yeah, can never write Barcelona off. They are just absolute class.
I think as well, after losing that Champions League final last year, they're they've come back with more to prove,
Hungry.
and they're hungry, and they have more fire within their team, and they're desperate to get that win and that trophy this year.
For sure. Vicky Lopez as well.
And Kika Nazare back.
Oh, it's
The list goes on.
The list goes on, yeah, for sure. I mean, what a side. I want to retract that. Oh no, I actually really believe that Chelsea can do it. Like, for all the reasons that we've spoken about already in the show, their squad depth, the players they have, they've made some great signings, they've plugged some gaps. I feel like they've got a great chance, but yeah, they're going to need to get a win against Paris at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday, which I'm very excited about being there for. Well, before we wrap up the show, I've got a bit of a fun question for you guys, because it was National Curry Week last week, and I asked Keira Walsh what her favourite curry was yesterday, and she actually told me, and you can watch the full video on the Haters TV YouTube channel. She told me she has curry on Christmas Day. Like, breaking news. That's wild, but I love it. And I asked her what her favourite curry was. She told me it was a sarg or a jalfrezi. What's yours?
Mine is any sort of tandoori fish. I love it.
This is what you've just recently tried?
Yes.
Okay, so try tandoori fish. Reshma?
I like a tandoori chicken.
Okay.
A little bit different, but I would usually go for a chicken biryani or lamb biryani. Those are my two favorites.
Some great choices. Well, I asked Sonia Bonpastor the question as well, right? And she said she hadn't really had a curry, and she hadn't found somewhere here to have a curry. And anyway, I signed myself up to cooking her a curry.
Wow.
So, I feel like there's quite a lot of pressure on it.
So much pressure.
I think I should have just said, let me take you to a curry house. But I said, let me make you a curry. So
exclusive.
Now I'm going to be making her. I don't really know how I'm going to. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
You can take it to Keira Walsh on Christmas Day as well.
Yeah. Signing myself up as the new Chelsea curry chef. Okay, I'll do it. But yeah, well, yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? Got to do what you got to do. I want Sonia to have a good curry. So there we go. Watch this space. I'll bring you the exclusive when I've given Sonia her first curry over here. And actually, finally, I wanted to touch on this. We're running to the end of the show, but I attended an amazing event last week, which I want to talk about. I attended the Legends of Football event, and Jill Scott was being recognised as a legend of football. I think we'll all agree she is a legend of football. I caught up with her at the event, and here is a clip of her saying who her legend of football is.
You join a long list of legends who've received this award. Is there someone who had a big impact on you and your career?
Oh, you know what? There's so many. When I look at the list of people that have actually got this award, I feel a bit of imposter syndrome that I'm in there. But I think I travelled from Sunderland last year to come and see Farrah Williams get inducted, and that meant a lot to me because she was a player. Obviously, she retired as England's most capped player, but she was a player that I played alongside for a lot of my England caps. And although she gave us a tough time at first, we became really good friends, and she really showed us the standard of playing for England. So I wanted to say thank you to her, and for me to be here the following night, again, it's a very special moment.
Yeah, so nice to hear Jill Scott saying those wonderful words about Farrah Williams. I mean, two incredibly, insanely good players, legends of football. Farrah won the award last year, Jill won it this year. But I want to ask you guys, if you had to pick a legend of football, who is your legend of football? Reshma, I'll start with you.
I would have to go for Mia Hamm. She was someone that I really looked up to growing up, and she has an amazing career, a couple of World Cups, couple of Olympic gold medals, but she pioneered for the game off the pitch, which she was one of the first people to really do that. So she was one of mine. And similarly, I would go for Alex Morgan as well. She did a very similar thing just more recently.
Oh, you picked two.
And she continues to advocate for women's sports in general, which is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Sam?
So do I get to go with three? No, I'll pick one, but I'll give a special mention to the others. So my top three are Kelly Smith.
Yeah.
Rachel Yankee.
Yeah.
And Marta. I just think those three are such special talents in the women's game. Kelly Smith, I don't think many people have played like Kelly Smith. She was absolute magic. Rachel Yankee, I grew up watching, and I remember actually going to England, USA when I was younger, and they played at Leyton Orient. It was the first time that sort of England had got a result over the US, because the US were always such an iconic team. And Rachel Yankee, was incredible. And Marta, I just think, is just the Brazilian specialist. She is world class to watch. So but Jill Scott, I have to say, such a legend in the game on and off the pitch. She's just such a character, and we love to see characters like her in the game. And she's just still doing so much for the sport.
Couldn't agree more. Such a worthy winner of the legend of football. I'm going to pick one. I mean, Rachel Yankee was actually on my shortlist too. I mean, what an incredible player, but also how much she cares about like the grassroots. Still, like that's like what she focuses on now. I've caught up with her earlier this year, and she's so passionate about inspiring that next generation of young girls who want to play. I'm going to pick maybe a more recent person, Mary Earps, just because I think what Mary Earps did in terms of for the goalkeeping position, which is so overlooked, and for the Lionesses, I think she really cut through like generations and genders and just so many people, and got women's football, got the Lionesses just on the map and in the way it needs to be, and goalkeeping as well. Fighting for that jersey to be printed. I just thought that was great. And she's in Madame Tussauds as well. It's pretty iconic, isn't it? It's pretty legendary. I mean, I think if you got your face in waxwork anywhere in the world, you're a legend. So who's next? That's the question. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Pitch Perfect. We do have a bit of a break with we've not got WSL for a couple of weeks now, so enjoy yourselves, find some other football to watch. There's plenty of it. Some internationals. There's some really great fixtures. England are playing Brazil and Australia. I almost forgot Australia there. Some great fixtures for you to tune into. In the meantime, thank you for joining me, Reshma and Sam, today. And stay tuned to Haters TV across all our socials to stay updated on all things women's football. We will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.